Hey guys, my name's Mike. I'm a WordPress developer with Flyerboard.com, and today we're going to be looking at installing WordPress locally on your computer. So this is going to give you a good opportunity to start developing things, start testing new theme options and things like that without having to worry about buying hosting or setting up a domain name, anything like that. So the first thing that we're going to need to do is we're going to need some special software to let our computer function as a server, where strict markup languages like HTML allow you to run straight through the browser. WordPress is powered by PHP, so we're going to need a special server set up on our computer to process all that information. A really good option for this, if you're on a Mac, is going to be MAMP. So you can see here, if you're running a PC, you're going to want to go over to XAMPP and check that out. Where I'm on a Mac right here, I'm just going to go ahead and download MAMP. I've already got MAMP installed, so I'm not going to download it, but just hit this orange button right here and follow the steps on screen to get set up. So the first time you launch MAMP, you're going to see this control panel here. The first thing I like to do is go into Preferences and just make sure that my ports are set to 80 for Apache, 81 for Nginx, and SQL is at 3306. For the Apache and SQL, these are like the default ports. So this stuff isn't super important. Once you get it all set up, won't have to worry about it again. So go ahead and click Start. Once you have that, the ports all set, this is going to ask you for your password. Now this is just going to be the system password for whichever user is logged in. You can see here the Apache server started, the SQL started. Go ahead and open the start page. Cool. Now you can see here there's a bunch of different information about which version of PHP you're running, and SQL. There's a lot of options in here, but to be honest, a lot of that stuff's not really important to us, just to get up and running and start developing. What you want to do is go into Tools, and we're going to go into PHPMyAdmin. Now for some of you this might be familiar, for some of you this might be your first time working with databases, so don't get too freaked out. We're just going to want to go over to the Database tab, and just to backtrack a little bit, PHPMyAdmin is basically going to function as your dashboard anytime you need to work with databases or do any database management. So especially locally, we're going to be working with this a lot. So you can see here a list of active databases I have, but we're going to go ahead up here to this field and create a new database. For this project, we're going to keep it simple and just type WordPress install. Cool. Go ahead and click Create. That gets added to the list here. We're going to click on that. And there's not too much going on here. The first thing we need to do before we start working with WordPress, though, is we're going to have to add a user for this database. Click on the Privileges tab. Go down here to Add User. Just choose a username and make sure you're writing this stuff down somewhere that you can copy and paste it later, because we'll need this to set up WordPress. For today, it's just going to be WordPress for my username. For localhost, apparently that already exists. WordPress 2. For hostname, we're just going to type localhost and just choose a password here. And again, make sure you're writing this information down, because we'll need it later on. Make sure the grant all privileges on database WordPress install is checked. We can leave global privileges unchecked for now. Go ahead and click Go, and we have our database. Cool. With that all set up, the next step is to go out and download the WordPress project files. Get that installed. So we're going to go ahead and go to wordpress.org. You can see the blue Download WordPress 4.1 button. Just going to go ahead and hit that. Bring us to the download screen. We can just go ahead and download WordPress. So this should start, and there it is. Give this a second. This is going to download everything WordPress needs to get installed, and then give you a good starting point to start working with your project. So it's going to automatically unzip for me, and we can see our WordPress folder. So double click inside that, and you can see that we have a list of 19 items here. So what we're going to want to do is go ahead and copy all of these. Copy the items. Now when you install MAMP or XAMPP on your computer, it's going to have created a folder called htdocs, and you can see here that I've added it to my list of quick links here. But chances are, if you just installed it for the first time now, it's not going to be up there. So the way that you're going to go ahead and find this folder is just go into Applications, and scroll down until you see the map folder. Double click that, and you're going to see all this stuff in here. We don't really have to worry about that, but here's our htdocs folder. Now this folder serves as kind of the root directory of our local server. So any type of projects or anything that we want to be processed as PHP or by this server, we're going to want to put in the htdocs folder. So you see I have a couple projects set up already, but we're going to set up a new folder and just call this WordPress install. Cool. Now inside this folder, we're just going to go ahead and paste everything. Take a second. Cool. Now the first thing we need to do is we need to put in our database information and let WordPress know where everything is to start the install. So we're looking for the wp-config-sample file. Cool. So here it is. You can open that up in whichever text editor you like to use, like Sublime Text. So here right at the top you can see database name. So that's pretty simple. So ours was WordPress install. Cool. The username, remember I told you we'd be using that information later. Our username was WordPress 2. We're just going to do 1W though. Now here's my super safe password that I use, password. Localhost can, the name of your host can stay at localhost. Now down here you can see this says change these to different unique phrases. You can generate these using this link here. Before we go into production, now this isn't necessary for working locally, but before we go into production, you're going to want to copy that link right there. Just paste the whole link in and hit enter. So it's going to generate all this stuff, and we're just going to replace this whole block of code with that. So we're going to go ahead and save this as wp-config. So basically I'm just saving as and then deleting that sample. Click save. Now our local server is running, our database is set up, our database user is set up, and we have the wp-config file set up with our database credentials. So now to access the root of your local server, we're just going to go to localhost, and you can see this list is going to reflect the folders that were in our htdoc folder. So here's WordPress install. We're going to click that, and here we go. So WordPress install. So we're going to choose English, and this is some basic information to get you set up. So site title, you can change this whenever you'd like. I'm just going to do Flyerboard. Username, I usually start with admin. Again, choose a password. You're going to want to put your email in here. .com. And for now, we're just going to click uncheck this allow search engines to index a site. Basically, this is going to kill your SEO if you were to put this up on a production server like that. But for right now, we don't want Google or anybody even trying to index something on our computer. So we're just going to go ahead and click install WordPress. That's going to do its thing. And here we are, success. Go ahead and log in for the first time. So it was admin. And there it is. Cool. So you can see this is WordPress dashboard. Everything looks good. Click on the title of your site to view your site. Right here we're using the default 2014 theme. Not a lot going on, but WordPress is up and running and we're good to go, ready to start development. There's one thing I want to show you. Let's pop back to the wp-config file. So chances are, while installing this, that something could go wrong. For instance, I'm going to remove an L here, resave that file, and we're going to go back here and just refresh this page. Can't select the database. Or another error you might find, if I can type this right, go back to localhost, WordPress install. Error establishing a database connection. So this is something that happens a lot with WordPress development, especially if you're new to the process of getting everything set up and connected with a database. So there's a number of reasons why this might you might see this message, this error message right here. Chances are it's a simple misspelling or something you missed or typed wrong inside your wp-config file. So if you've been following along and you get this error establishing a database connection screen, the first thing you want to do is go back to your WP config file and just check to make sure that the name of the database is correct. The database username, the password, the host name, just make sure everything is exactly how you typed it within PHP-MyAdmin. So now I've added that second L back in there. We're just going to go ahead and save it and refresh this page, and you can see, boom, WordPress can communicate with your database again. Everything comes back to life. So if you hit that error establishing connection with database screen, don't panic. It's usually just a simple one letter, usually, or even an extra space here might cause that. So just make sure you check the WP config file, and you should be good to go. Well, that's it, guys. Thanks for watching. If you have any troubles installing WordPress, or maybe something didn't go right and you followed everything and you just can't get it to work, let me know. Leave me a comment. I'll get back to you as soon as I can. And good luck.